I'm Ina Freed, Chief Technology Correspondent at Axios. Actually had a dream last night I was hosting SNL, so this is probably as close as I'm gonna get. Um, if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, I write our daily AI Plus newsletter. You can go to axios.com/newsletters, sign up for mine, Jim's, Mike's, all the good stuff. I'm really excited that we're going to have another great conversation around where really are we in this AI moment. Huge moment of change. I don't need to tell anyone that. But also, I've been covering Silicon Valley for 25 years. Tremendous amount of change. I've never seen the actual technological change happen as fast. But then right on top of that, we have yet another hype layer that I'm very familiar with. And so it's really hard when the technology change is this real and at the same time there's so much hype. So we're going to have a great discussion. One last housekeeping note: if you haven't signed up for our last event of the week, it's taking place at the C3.ai booth, which is close to the Congress Center on the Promenade. I'll be interviewing Eric Brynjolfsson and Navrina Singh. And today we're going to talk about how investment in infrastructure, obviously a huge piece of this is getting all that massive compute that we're going to need. And I'd like to bring up my colleague John Otto to kick things off.
Good morning, everyone. Day 4 of Davos, if you can believe it. Thanks for starting with us here today. I'm really excited for the program. I'm John Otto, the GM of Axios Live. Huge thanks to Qualcomm House, our venue partner. But programs like this are not made possible without the support of our underwriters and partners. And so, like today and this morning, MGX and Mubadala Investment Company have been huge supporters of us today. So I'm excited to introduce to the stage Chief Investment Officer of Technology at MGX, Ali Osman. Come on up, sir. And Deputy Chief Strategy Officer at Mubadala Investment Company, Mark Antaki. Mark. All right. So let's start off big picture here. Mubadala supported the launch of MGX, and really want to understand a little bit more for the audience here. What's the relationship like? What's the working relationship with both groups?
Thank you very much, Sean, and good morning, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Maybe a quick intro on Mubadala for those that don't know Mubadala. We're an Abu Dhabi-based global investment company, portfolio size 330, globally diversified. And the way we invest with top-tier partners, both directly and indirectly, in teams and sectors and geographies where we have deep convictions. Things like technology, where we deployed capital in semiconductor and software over the past 10 years, in healthcare, life sciences, also in the past 10 years, clean energy, and. What happened over the past couple of years with that inflection point of Gen AI, the acceleration of a lot of thematics in the AI space, we decided to have a dedicated, focused team vehicle to look at the AI space and go at the speed that that space actually requires. We have built tremendously fantastic relationships, partners, access, depth of expertise across the 20 years of capital deployment we've been doing. But that space in particular requires dedication, focus, and active deployment. I'm sure that my colleague Ali is going to speak a lot about MGX and the cool stuff that we're doing. But aside from the MGX story, the AI thematic is also driving a lot of acceleration on the other thematic where Mubadala is involved. So we continue to push on both fronts, dedicated AI ecosystem, the other areas as well, and certainly benefit from that close proximity and collaboration.
And Ali, talk to us a little bit more. MGX's strategic AI investment goals for this year. Help the audience understand that a little bit more.
And I think Mark said it well. We basically, about 18 months ago, took a step back and really wanted to redefine what it meant to be an investor, an AI-first investor, or an AI investor in an AI-native environment. And we came to the conclusion that you needed to have the ability to invest across the entire thematic and ecosystem. That meant you needed to invest across asset classes, across risk categories. You needed to be able to bring scale to the table. That is very important given the capital needs of the space. And so we built MGX to be an AI first and AI thematic fund with the ability to invest across semiconductors, across AI infrastructure, including data centers, compute as a service, and eventually token as a service and intelligence as a service, as well as the entire tech stack, right? So thinking about frontier models, obviously looking at every layer, as well as software businesses that ultimately will be transformed. And so as we think about the enablers of this technology, taking a 12 to 18, even 24-month view, the infrastructure and the infrastructure build out is going to be a critical piece of the puzzle. That's really where we're focused today.
And in terms of like where do you see the most opportunities for or applications in industries? Like how do you look at that from an investment standpoint?
I think one thing we have yet to see from an application perspective is really where enterprises are pursuing growth and growth opportunities rather than efficiency in deploying AI applications. So we're starting to see a lot of enterprises, and we've heard this throughout the week, a lot of enterprises have started to look at efficiencies and optimizing the way they do things today, leveraging technology in order to be more efficient. The reality is, we think that the opportunity is actually how do you bring value forward by looking at growth? How can you serve your customer better? How can you unlock customer ROI as the enterprise? We think that we're at very early days with respect to that.
And Mark, so while there is every bit intention around what UAE has to offer, there is also every bit of a global opportunity for AI. So in terms of like global presence and global focus, how does Mubadala look at that?
So we're in many different geographies. Let me maybe take them west to east. So the US, North America, the US, we are 40% of our portfolio is in the US. We've been building that portfolio for quite a while. It's been playing out extremely well. Like I said, we built great relationship, great businesses. They're performing extremely well. We continue to perceive the US as a great market to attract capital. And the reasons are pretty known, the depth of the markets, the quality of deal flow, the partners that we have, the capital markets that are extremely attractive. But also, if you just look at that drive on innovation and technology, is fueling that productivity drive that you see translating into a lot of great businesses going from local to global, etc. So there's a lot of exciting thematics in the US that we continue to underwrite. The consumer space, the new consumer space, the young generations coming upstream. Healthcare is big, energy is big, the infrastructure as a whole is very interesting, and so forth. So we continue to look at the US as a prime market. If we go a little bit more towards the east, Asia as a whole, also we have more or less 40% of our portfolio in Asia, including the UAE. UAE, at the end of the day, is in Asia, is a big growth market for us. And I'll speak a bit about the UAE in a couple of minutes. But Asia is a place where we've been deploying capital for the past 10, 15 years. We see huge growth opportunity on the back of simply demographics. Just look at the pace of growth, population, young generations coming online. Think about all the reforms that have been happening in, call it India, other places, and how it's attracting more and more business, FDI, capital formation, etc. So in Asia, and Asia is big, we cannot speak about Asia as one country or one geography. India has been a bright spot for us. We've been doing quite a lot there, and we continue to deploy capital in India. China, we have a capability that we built there for the past 10 years. We all know the challenges that are ongoing, and there's a lot of reforms coming, but we're extremely well positioned in China to be able to scale at the right time because we are early positioned, whereas a lot of our peers or other capital deployers have pulled out from China. There's a lot of other bright spots in Asia that we're also contemplating. But let me stop on the UAE because UAE is a very exciting growth story. A lot of you know how the UAE has developed over the past 20, 30 years and has put everything in place that is needed to be able to continue that forward-leaning journey of innovation, of vibrant economy, and really focusing on the future sectors. So we're in the UAE, give or take, at 20-25%, have great presence. But the UAE is a place where we're significantly deploying capital as well to continue help building the economy, the country, but also simply because it makes sense.
We are coming up on time. We're going to get the hook, but we're in Davos. Let's pretend like we have a crystal ball here. What's one big thing you're most excited about for this year?
I think from what we're seeing, picking up on your point on applications, the evolution of the application layer, I think will be extremely material in 2025. From some of the technologies that we're already seeing being rolled out over the course of the next 2 months, it will transform the way we work today. And the embracing of that technology and of the application layer by the enterprise, again, from a growth standpoint rather than an efficiency standpoint, is really what I'm most excited about in 2025.
Mark?
Certainly application and things coming real, but I'll take maybe a different spin. I think one thing that's going to be very interesting is partnership and collaboration. And we all hear that fragmentation, isolationism, certainly is going to have an impact. But throughout my entire week at Davos, partnership is critical not only to navigate that complex world, because it's very clear that nobody can do it alone. And at the same time, as these partnerships actually form and enhance, these partnerships can help shape a bit that world of tomorrow in a different way that these partnerships were working in the past. So very much looking forward to it.
That's all the time we have. Mark, Ali, thank you so much for the conversation today. And a huge thanks again for the support with MGX and Mubadala Investment Company. So Ina will be up next for our next conversation. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Come on up, Christian. So, as I said in my introductory remarks, one of the things everyone is trying to figure out here in Davos is just where are we with this AI revolution? I don't know if you heard me backstage, but I was saying, there's real change here, and it's super fast. And I think businesses are struggling to keep up. And I'm sure you guys aren't contributing to the hype, but I think there's also a lot of hype on top. I thought maybe a good place to start is to talk about what are businesses doing today with AI, with you, what's working. Let's start with what's working. What are businesses doing today with generative? Where are you seeing the most success, the most value driven, that sort of thing?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, Gene, and so first of all, I guess it's very important, Ina, to understand 2023 was the year of, we had the first ideas of what generative AI can do for businesses, not for, typical consumers or in our private life. 2024 was then really the adoption of the first use cases so that companies feel the value. But, these are use cases in, take, for example, HR. You write thousands of job profiles, job postings every year, of course, can be taken over. We closed, which is good, thousands of contracts by the end of the year with customers, 800 pages, completely now automated, RefReg checks, compliance checks, data security, over-regulation in Europe, checked by, AI. And then, of course, that gives you...
Regulation in Europe? I'm shocked.
Yeah, see, Ina, a completely new topic, huh? And look, these are the use cases where customers say, you know what, that is why I absolutely willing to also lean in and adopt these new AI use cases. Now, of course, when you grandma next week becomes, 95. When I ask my kids to write a poem, they ask ChatGPT and get a good result. The problem, what it still is, and this is, I guess, what we now have to solve in 2025 to not only feed into the hype, is really these LLM modules, they have, for good reasons, no access to business data. But in businesses, you need 100% accurate results. I mean, the poem for grandma can be 95% good and 5% okay. That is absolutely fine. In business, you need 100% accurate results. And where many companies still struggle with is, I have my co-pilot here, SAP has its Joule, and then we have this and that. But how do I bring this together? And because only when I have unstructured, structured data together, SAP, non-SAP data together, I really understand better with AI my consumer trends, the consumer wishes. I can fuel growth by really detecting earlier, is this Adidas sneaker now just more in the demand or less? And then I can adjust my supply chain. And here we come to here we come to the agent story. And I guess that is now the next thing where also technology companies like SAP, Databricks, and others need to team up in order, how can we really build this data foundation for AI?
And you hit on a really important thing, and one of the things I've been asking, which is if the LLMs aren't 100% accurate. And right now we live in a world where they're generally returning information to a human being. Those contracts, probably someone's giving it a final read, hopefully. But when we talk about agents, we're talking about more autonomy.
Yes.
Is the technology ready to be given agentic capabilities? And if so, what types of agents? Because we've also been having a conversation. People mean really different things when they say agents.
Yeah. Look, it's a good question. I mean, I can share with you two agentic AI capabilities we are going to launch this year. I mean, first, when customers using our software to package their services, their products, to price it, hopefully, in the right way, to position it at the right point of time. So there is a sales agent, helping you with, a lot of recommendations on what is the best price, how to package this up, how to bundle it best to really hit the consumer at the right point in time. That's just a sales agent. Now, the sales agent would be great if the sales agent can talk to the supply chain agent, because is this product on stock? Can I deliver on time? So that the sales agent is not making any kind of promises, which, the supply chain can't fulfill. And that is now one of the scenarios what we are planning, because we see there is clear value in it. And of course, is there then still Joule on top who has to orchestrate that? That absolutely. And that's why we are investing not in an LLM, but SAP is investing in a knowledge graph, in really, having to contextualize the data, that you can set it in context. That is very, very important. And then we need to bring it to adoption, and that's why we really focus on a few use cases, not on 100, but on a few, push this out. And then I feel this will be a big next step in the evolution of AI.
And talk about what you're hearing from customers, because I think, nobody's saying, I don't think we need AI, or correct me if I'm wrong. I doubt anyone's saying, oh, we don't need AI. But what I hear a lot is, I don't really know. I mean, they really don't know how to use it. They've spent the last 2 years, they came to Davos 2 years ago. Oh my God, ChatGPT is going to do it. They had ChatGPT write their terrible speeches, all that. The next year, they were launching lots of pilots all over the place, proof of concept. I know they want to get returns, but I also think, the same company that was trying to sell them, a chatbot last year is trying to sell them on agents this year. They haven't even gotten through with the last thing. How are businesses, what are they telling you they need from you?
I mean, yeah, absolutely, Ina. I mean, look, we also have to ground ourselves a little bit in reality. And the reality is, 80% of our customers are not the large enterprises who are not having a big IT department, who are not having 100 data scientists. So what I told our teams is, we are SAP, we are running with our software the business. So we need to embed it. We need to offer that out of the box, meaning we have 400,000 customers, 40,000 customers giving us the right to train our modules with their anonymized data, of course. And then we plug it in. So we have all the predictions, all the automation. It's coming with the software. Because oftentimes customers just don't have, the team, also the investments, to take a piece of AI and bring it into the context of the business. And this is where we are sitting at the nexus. And of course, we need to make use of that. 5 years back, we developed an IoT scenario here, machine learning scenario there, and then you have a piece of software there. customers really struggled with the adoption. So that's very important that it comes embedded. And then the second piece is, what I mentioned before is also on the data side. I mean, we also have to say there's a lot of legacy still out there. There are a lot of data silos. I mean, there's always this imagination, oh, I take my SAP, non-SAP, structured, unstructured in a data lake, magic happens, and somehow I have a meaningful data layer for the company. That is not the reality. And then, for good reasons, the LLM modules, they can't read your financials because this would be super bad. I would be uncompliant if all of my end users suddenly could read the group P&L of SAP. So this is something what we have to solve. Yeah? And this is where we work with our customers on, hey, how can we build a better data foundation? How can we harmonize the generative AI use cases with your business data? And these are the challenges what customers today facing. And that's why we are also working a lot under the hood on these things.
I often think tech companies learn the most from what they're doing internally, because whether it's dogfooding their own technology or using others' technology. And I'd love to hear, you mentioned one use case, contracts and some of that stuff. I know you've used it some in marketing. I assume you're using it for coding, for HR. Where are you getting the most value? What are some things that might be unexpected where SAP's internal use of AI has been interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I get my weekly report and about the effectiveness of our AI on our business. I mean, we have to prove SAP wants SAP, very important to also have credibility. And in development, I mean, now it's budget time. I mean, if our development managers like it or don't like it, they have a 30%, efficiency gain in there in producing more code with the same team. And it's absolutely doable. We were, I mean, a year back with our AI pilot for ABAP, where it was probably 5 to 10%. Now we absolutely see the code which we produce or AI producing can absolutely lead to 30%.
So they have to show you they're doing 30%.
They have to, and we see it. And honestly, to make a typical developer excited about these tools takes some time. But you can feel now also the excitement, that they have to, deliver now more output, but they also have the tools in their hand. So that is really software development. And honestly, when you look at the workforce of SAP, be it in HR, be it in cloud delivery, be it in sales, in marketing, I mean, we are doing a massive enablement program now. I mean, we cannot, hire, 100,000, new employees. So you need to invest into your workforce and you have to think through what is the profile of a developer now and how will it look like in 3 years from now? And the same, in my eyes, you have to do in order to equip your workforce for this, next age of AI.
Where hasn't AI been as effective as you thought? What are some areas where you've tried to use AI where either it hasn't worked as well or you said, I'm sure you tested out things that didn't pan out the way you thought?
I have to say, what is sometimes more an obstacle also inside SAP is data protection and my lovely data protection officer. Yeah? So, I can accept, okay, we can't do that, but what is then the solution? Yeah. So on how to use data, for testing, etc. And then we also see regional differences. Yeah. What is allowed in Europe, what is allowed in the US, or what is allowed in Asia. And we are making investment decisions also R&D wise based on, where do we feel we are over-regulated and where is actually also more freedom to drive innovation. That is a constant battle, a discussion we always have also inside SAP. Now, of course, when HR and finance make up 2 or 3% of your P&L, the impact is a bit less. Nevertheless, the CFO needs AI for steering. You have very volatile markets, maybe tariffs are coming, inflation, then you have, interest rates changing. And that is where AI can help. But of course, when you look at the pure cost, I would say also for our customers, it's typically supply chain, it's typically asset management. I mean, this is where a lot of the CapEx and the OpEx is going in. And obviously, customers also tend to invest exactly in that areas.
So the business itself has got to be also changing. The way you sell, one of the things I was talking to, some folks at Microsoft, and Mark Benioff and I were actually talking on stage, historically a lot of enterprise software as a service, per user, per month, pretty well understood model. Doesn't really work in the day where, we're going to have agents. One human being could be controlling, 10, 100 agents. How do you imagine SAP will be sold differently a couple of years from now and priced? And what other, beyond just pricing, because that's a packaging thing. There was a time we bought software in a box and it was a one-time license and you tried to sell an upgrade. So my guess is you can navigate that one, but how else do you see your business changing?
I mean, commercially, it's absolutely a fair question. I mean, my investors asking me the same question. Do you really want to price per user when you want to make this process, a lot more productive, and will be there actually less users at the end? And I feel it was a very good decision that we, right from the start, said for Joule, for our AI use cases, it's consumption, it's output based. Because I would say it's also then a tough ask. Also, it's something in this environment to say, oh, I charge you a 30% premium on top of your user price. And it was also very good for us to learn to have really an educated discussion with the customer about the value of these AI use cases and price them outcome-based, consumption-based. And so that was, for us, absolutely the right decision. So we are already on outcome, output-based pricing. Of course, our solutions, the software is still subscription-based. I would say the tendency there is also to come to more outcome-based. But you also have to see many CIOs, they all love to hear about outcome-based but you also need to have security in your IT budget. When you overshoot your IT budget by 20 or 30%, your job is also at risk. So I would say, look, outcome-based is absolutely the way to go. Consumption on AI. If this will now radically change on the software side, I don't know.
We only have about a minute left. What aren't we talking enough about here in Davos? What is missing from the conversation?
I mean, you said it right, Ina. I mean, at the end, I would love to say buy a piece of AI and technology and, get the value instantly. I mean, that is not in the enterprise space how it works. You need to understand how will my business will run in the future? How is my business model changes? How do I want to automate a certain business process and then drive the change from the end user coming and then apply the AI in the right way? And so I guess this is something what also the technology companies need to take care of. There's always an end user. There's always a change needed on the business side. And I guess this honesty we also have to give our customers, because otherwise we are playing into a hype. And we are here with agentic AI, and our customers are here. And I always remind our teams, the gap, there is always a certain gap, until customers can adopt. But the gap needs to be well managed and cannot be, like a 2 or 3 year time frame. And that, I guess, is very important that also here in Davos, we talk about how to change the business, how to change my workforce in order to apply AI with the right output.
All right, well, I want to give you one suggestion for an agent. SAP is very involved in the San Jose Sharks. They play at SAP Center.
Don't go there. My founder gives me a hard time with they are not playing really well.
They do have a great young player. Macklin Celebrini is great. Anyway, we're going to have to leave it there. Hopefully we'll have better news on both the AI and hockey fronts next year. Christian Klein from SAP.